Congressman Ted Poe, what about this whole situation bothers you most? What fact makes you think there could well be something there?
There are several reasons. One, the compound itself built apparently for Osama bin Laden, been there so long because it's next to a military base, and that Pakistan has a reputation of giving sanctuary to Al-Qaeda and to the Taliban, and that's a reputation they have had over the years. That's why our troops are aligned on the Afghan border with Pakistan to try to prevent the Taliban from coming into Afghanistan. So all of those reasons make me believe that Pakistan is not the ally we think they are. They do what's in their best interest, which may not necessarily be in what's America's best interest.
Right. Congressman Ted Poe, my wife is from India. My father-in-law, who's visiting now, served a career in the Indian Air Force. And for the entirety of his career, and pretty much since the late 1940s, India has been at some form of war with Pakistan. So Indians have very interesting opinions on Pakistan, and Americans tend to be a little more pro-Pakistan than I think Indians are. But I'm curious, or I'd like your perspective, because it is a complicated situation, as you know, that we also don't want to push the Pakistani government over the brink because the replacement could be a lot worse than the devil we do know. So how do we navigate that delicate act?
Well, the government is, as you say, fragile, has been for some time, and will continue to be. Pakistan, has nuclear capability. They do have the concern, or the world has the concern with the relationship, the bad relationship with India. We don't want Pakistan to fail as a nation, of course. We don't want them to be taken over by our terrorist enemies. But it's not necessarily correct and important that we continue to give them aid. That's really the question. Should we continue to give them military aid? Should we give them so-called foreign aid if that aid is maybe going to the wrong places and not helping the war on terror, but maybe even used against us? So aid is one issue of our relationship with Pakistan.
Other than basically declaring that he's the be-all and end-all in his speech on Sunday night and that this was all at his direction, I have been complimentary of the president's role in this process. Do you share that?
Well, yes, he's the one that made the decision to allow this operation to take place, and he should be given credit for that. It goes back a long way to when President Bush made the comment, joint session of Congress right after 9/11, he said to our allies, you either are for us or you're with the terrorists. And so I commend the president for making this decision and the operation being successfully carried out by our military and intelligence agencies.
Did you have any concerns with the way this has been carried out, the disposal of his body, or anything else?
Well, I thought the tactical operation was as perfect as it could be. The choice to dispose of his body at sea under a religious ceremony, I'm not so sure we had to do that. Should have done that. I'm a little concerned about that. He is the world's greatest outlaw, and so some concern about that. But otherwise, the way the operation took place and the way it was handled by our forces is good. It's remarkable.
Are there any questions in Congress, Congressman Ted Poe, over the Black Hawk helicopter and what exactly happened there and the loss of that asset?
There's not much conversation, although the Armed Services Committee, I'm sure, will get exactly the details as to the malfunction and what occurred. The operation was prepared, of course, to have a backup, and they did have a backup that helped take the SEALs out of the area. So that'll come out exactly what mechanical problem there was.
Fair enough. Congressman Ted Poe, one other question for you. Chuck Schumer, senator from the state of New York, after the shuttle was sent to New York, in a New York Times editorial this past week, saying they didn't even want it. It doesn't belong there. What are they going to do with it? All that'll happen is people will spray graffiti on it. But being a sore winner, and after everything Houston did and the country did to come behind New York after 9/11, after discussions of a civil discourse, for him to say such nasty things about the city of Houston, I'm curious, and our community, especially when most people considered Houston to be the rightful place for the shuttle. Other congressmen, senators around the country, have they responded to what Schumer said about Houston?
That is true, and it's been in a bipartisan way, not unanimously, but there have been members of Congress in both parties have said, the shuttle shouldn't go to New York. It should go to Houston, Texas, where it belongs. Jason Chaffetz from Utah introduced legislation to require that one of the shuttles come to Houston. And of course, he's from the West, so there are many members that are puzzled and perplexed why New York City would get one of the shuttles when it has absolutely no connection at all to the space program, to NASA, or to the shuttles.
Doesn't make sense. Congressman Ted Poe, your bill withholding funds to Pakistan, when will that come to the floor for a vote?
I don't know. The Speaker determines the schedule, but we hope, as soon as possible, at least before any more money is sent to Pakistan.
Do you get the sense that he's supportive, or is it premature for that?
It's too early to say.
Okay. Congressman Ted Poe, good work. I support this bill and appreciate you stepping forward this early to lead on it.
Thank you, Michael. Always good to talk to you.
Yes, sir. Congressman Ted Poe from the northeastern part of Houston. The bill is posted on our blog at michaelberry.com. It's the Pakistan Foreign Aid Accountability Act. The Pakistan Foreign Aid Accountability Act. The details of it and how to contact Congressman Ted Poe to let him know you support these efforts, all that at michaelberry.com.